Welcome to this new episode of Tools for Thought Onboarding. In this series, we evaluate what's the feeling, what's the sensation of taking contact with a new app for the first time. So my name is Bianca Pereira. I'm a personal knowledge management coach and a researcher. And as any researcher, a knowledge creator. So we play with knowledge, we consume knowledge, we create new knowledge. So knowledge management is not just a need, but a must for any researcher. So that's why here today we are exploring a new tool for the purpose of doing knowledge management, specifically in the case of research. So the tool I will be evaluating in this episode, it's called Reflect. Reflect is an app that is based on 4 core values: speed, security, reliability, and less is more. So let's see what's our first impression of this app. So let's check it out. Hello, Sam. Thanks a lot for having this onboarding session about Reflect with me. So I'm really looking forward to learn a little bit more about Reflect. I was really curious, so I'm ready for it. How are you?
That's great. Yes, I'm very excited as well, and it's great to meet you. I'm excited to kind of take you through a walkthrough of the app.
So let's get started. So how do we start it?
Yeah, to get started, you can just go to reflect.app, which will bring up the main landing page, and you can actually screen share if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll do that. And here we are.
Perfect. Awesome. So on the landing page, anyone can find out anything they want about the app. We've got lots of information there. But for the sake of this demo and going through onboarding, you can go ahead and click on Start a Free Trial in the top right there. And then you can choose to sign up however you want. There's the Google option, the Apple option, or you can just use any email. Perfect. All right. So here is where you set up your graph profile. So to start with, you can choose the username of your graph there. For mine, I just did my name, Sam Clausen. And then next, you're going to want to create an encryption password. So it looks like you already have an encryption password and password manager there. So you can choose anything you like. Yeah, but make sure you, anyone
I think I would just create one.
Okay, cool. But the important thing is that you save it and you never lose it. That's very important. Although we are currently redoing this encryption part of the app to make it much easier. So that will actually be released very shortly here.
My passwords are a bit long. It's not bad.
Perfect. No, that's great. Perfect. Then you can re-enter it there just to make sure.
So then I can create actually multiple graphs, because I see there is an option there.
Can.
Graph.
You can create multiple. We actually recommend that you only create one single graph and use that for both work life, personal life. And the whole point of Reflect is sort of mirroring the way your brain works to help you think better. And so if you think about your normal brain, there's not very clear separation between your work life or your personal life or anything else you might be doing. And so we recommend people use one profile and take it kind of between jobs. They use it for their weekend plans and everything. For various reasons, some people do decide to use different graphs. So we do give the option to create multiple if that's what you choose to do.
Okay. Yeah, because I do agree with you on having just one graph to be like my knowledge. But at the same time, for example, I teach as well. So sometimes I like to share part of my graph with other people while keeping the private things away. So I'm not sure if you have other ways for doing that, or if creating a new graph will be the solution. But then, well, let's see what's inside.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. So here we arrive in Reflect at last. This is sort of the main daily notes page. So Reflect works in an ongoing daily note, and you can kind of think of that almost as your memory of your brain. And so we kind of give this starting note here of how to kind of kick off using Reflect that acts as the onboarding. So we're treating it almost like this is your daily to-do note for the first day, where you're sort of recording how you found Reflect and using it. And then at the bottom, you'll see kind of the onboarding steps that we can complete. Yeah.
Sorry, I like to be playing with things.
No, that's great. Yeah. And you can access the main editor by using the //
// Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there you can kind of see all the
AI
things you
paint.
can start playing around with. That's a new one. It's super fun to play with.
Okay, I found some of them that already got me curious.
Yeah, so those at the bottom, the three there, the company, the journal, and the person, those are pre-built templates that you can use.
Oh, that's interesting. So you have templates. So can I create templates or?
Absolutely, yeah. If you click on your graph icon in the lower left,
Yeah.
and then go to preferences, and then templates on the left bar there. And there you can see the pre-built ones. If you don't like them, you can delete them, edit them, or create new ones. So for me personally, I have mine built so that I have my daily journal template. And that usually has like gratitude reflections like you see here, my affirmations for the day. And then I have a to-do list template where I put in kind of my main work projects and any side projects I have. And then I can put in my to-do list under each of those categories. But everyone sort of uses it differently. So this is the space to kind of take the structures that you use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You can put them in as a template to quickly access them.
So I can put here my meetings. Oh, I don't say this is okay. I need to create it then.
And for this part, we actually might want to go back to the main page to see how you can kind of create an auto linked note for a meeting and whatnot.
Yeah. Just playing a little bit. Let's go.
All right.
So, okay, back to my daily note.
So let's kind of go through this intro first before we start going to the onboarding tasks, because there are a couple intentional decisions that Reflect made that make using it kind of unique and a much better experience than other apps. One we already touched on, which is the fact that this is your space. It's encrypted. No one else can see your notes. This is actually one of my personal favorite things about Reflect, because I often feel the need to self-censor if I know someone else is reading my notes. So that's why the other graph use case you brought up, that is actually one I saw someone using the other day. They created a separate one for their virtual assistant to access as needed while keeping their own main one pure. But if you want to scroll up a little bit there on the intro. Perfect, yeah. So these are kind of the main kind of points of Reflect. You use it to associate and remember different things. And the main way you do that is by backlinking your notes together. And over time, as you add more things and as you backlink more things, you kind of create an extension of your brain and a graph of these ideas that are all interconnected. So that's sort of the format that Reflect is based off of as a note-taking platform. And then that means it's good for things like, like I said, journaling every morning, recording one-on-one notes, saving things you read. And the AI palette's actually great for that. You can save things you read and have it list the key takeaways so that you don't have to, go reread the post again. So because of all these things, like we said, we recommend not making a distinction between your work and your personal notes. We also found that once you kind of use the tagging structure for things like a personal CRM, where you saw earlier, we can kind of put the people tag. You can all of a sudden see a directory of your contacts or companies. I travel a lot, so I now have a directory of all the places that I visit with my favorite restaurants and stuff. So that's kind of some of the examples of how this backlinking structure comes into play.
Yeah, and then just to summarize so you should understand everything. So the idea is that you have the backlink, so I can create a link manually, but then the tool will give me the backlink to that from what I linked back into the note that I just linked. For example, if I say morning is actually a new page, so when I go into morning, there will be a backlink going there, right? Yes, incoming backlinks.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's exactly how I use my weekly reflections. I have like a weekly reflection page, and then I pull up that page and I can see an ongoing list of all of my reflections over the past week with my habits and whatnot included.
Okay.
Cool. So let's actually get started with the onboarding steps here. The first one, we can go ahead and sync your calendar and your contacts, and that will make it easy to import the meetings and create auto backlinked notes off of them if you so choose. So you can click on that link there.
Can I choose just two, or I need to choose all of them? Oh, I need to choose all of them.
I think it should need, yeah, the calendar access there. Perfect. Then we can go back.
It's connected.
You might, oh yeah, it's right under our video there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want, you can go ahead and kind of go down below, and if you click on one of those meetings, on the right bar there. So here you can see you can add the meeting. It gives a name with the title. It adds my email in there, and if you want to, create a contact for me, you can put my name in there as well. And then I'll be in your system. So now you have a new note with me, and any other interactions we have will be auto-linked to this.
I'll remove myself.
And I think
okay, here
right there. So it adds it as like a to-do, or not a to-do list, but something, a bullet point you did on your daily note. Yeah. And then you can click in that note if you want to. So any notes that we wanted to take based off of this call, we could put in there. And then you'll also see on the previous page, it created the link for myself, which is now a contact link in your notes.
That's an interesting thing. So for example, if I create a meeting, I didn't see that option. Could I, for example, if I have a template, could I create a note directly with a template?
Yeah, so if you, let's say you wanted to have a one-on-one meeting note template, this is something that I do. I actually built that as a template. So whenever I have a one-on-one, I can auto-link the meeting just like you've done here. And then I can just type / one-on-one, and it will auto put in my template there.
Okay. So then it creates a meeting and the meeting note, and then after then I can come here and add the template.
Yes, correct. And as you have multiple, say again, the one-on-one example, with each additional one-on-one, then down below, you can see the previous notes from your previous one-on-ones, which is really nice because then you can just sort of pick up exactly where you left off, and you're not sort of, entering a one-on-one with one of many reports, wondering what you talked about last time or what you need to follow up on.
So now an important question. How can I go back without going through the browser? Is there any way, or it's really the browser?
We do. Yes, we have a shortcut. If you hit Command in the left bracket, you can, and the right actually, you can toggle back and forth between pages. And that's a good one too, actually. If you you can pull up the list of keyboard commands as well. We have a lot of them, and you can also see them. I think there's a shortcut in the question mark down below there.
Yeah, command /.
Yep, and you can also, pull them up with the command /. Reflect's built so that you can do everything from keyboard shortcuts. You don't actually have to use your mouse if you want. So that's kind of a list of everything you can do with the shortcuts, and you can just pull that up if you ever need to reference them.
That's bringing me another question. I have many questions. Does it work on mobile?
Yeah,
because on mobile we don't have the keyboards, for example. Is it built for mobile, or?
It does. We're still rapidly improving the mobile app. It's currently in a test flight on iOS, but it's very excellent. The editing is quite fast. The syncing is excellent, both for regular note taking and also offline. So I've been using it very regularly in two main ways. I have a goldfish brain, so whenever I kind of like think of an idea or a thought, I just whip out the app and will write it down quickly.
Yeah.
Also, the Alex, the CEO and founder of Reflect, got me into the Whisper voice notes at the end of the day, where you can just kind of use it to quickly transcribe something if you just want to reflect on your day, but maybe don't want to sit down to actually write on your computer.
Oh, that's cool. And I have other questions. For example, the first thing, as you were talking about calendar, if I look at the different days, can I see my other items? Or yeah, the other meetings appear here. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so the meetings will appear for the day. As you see, each future date is blank until you put something in it.
Yeah.
But one thing I do is like, this is a really boring example, but I need to change the air filters in my house in 3 months. So I literally just went to that day 3 months from now and added a to-do item. So that 3 months down, I'll just kind of see that pop up on my daily note and I'll know to do it.
Okay, that's cool. So it's like really more like a to-do for doing that specific date, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And just a few things, like as you're something when I talk about PKM, about knowledge management and about tools for thought, I really think about the goal of using that for research. And in research, there are multiple things I need to do. Of course, we need to do project management, we need to do task management, we need to have our meetings or our meeting notes here, which I call input notes. All those things, like we have to deal with the external world, but there are also the idea management side of things. And then that's where I want to know, like, what if I want to talk about my ideas. So what I can see here, you really have the idea of the outline, right? So it's really like an outline mode. Do you have any other modes for writing, or outline is the core, is the let's say the structure for writing everything into Reflect?
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about how I use it for writing. So I usually, if I'm writing an article piece, will create a unique note for that article or whatever piece I'm working on. And there I can kind of use the outline to actually write it in Reflect. And this is also where the AI comes in to be very helpful with editing and whatnot as well. And then you can kind of use really whatever writing style you want within that note. I will kind of write my full piece using, headings, links, adding in images and all of that good stuff. Other people just write their outlines in Reflect. It's also very useful if I have this notes page, I can use the browser snippet tool or the Kindle highlights tool to kind of take things from readings that I see and add them to my note on my writing so that I have my research right in there. So that's sort of how I use it personally. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, something that I started playing here. So you say I open a note and I started writing on it, so I started doing it. And something I already like is the fact that the external bullet point is not, it's internally a bullet point, is a block itself that I can reuse, but it doesn't appear as a bullet point because it's a minor thing, but most outliners, they have always this bullet point in front. And what a bullet point causes us is that we need to reflect, the next thing I'm writing should be inside or should be outside? Or should it be just a quick jot, just like a sentence, or I can just express myself freely? Because one of the things that I'm very big advocate is for free writing. And most of the outliners, they kind of have some friction when it comes to free writing. But here, just for, you just can just keep writing and writing and writing, and it feels like a note. I already like it. So I can say that.
I do too. I think it's great for, I keep going back to this because it's one of my favorite aspects of Reflect, but this thought of just kind of the security and feeling like you're writing within your own brain is just very, very important to me. So I like this kind of, like you said, the blank slate you start with, and you can just kind of keep going down and filling it sort of however your brain works and however it wants to work through the writing piece.
Okay, so that's really good. And for example, let's suppose I created here inspiration. I create a few notes. Yes. So I'm creating a graph, right? At the end, like I have the links between those things. Is there any way to have a more high level view of what is out there? Or it's just really navigational, I need to create those high level views. So how does it work in Reflect?
There's two ways. The first one's very fun. If you go to the left and you click on the map, you can probably already start to see how you've been forming this kind of graph of ideas through your notes. And of course, as you add more, the graph becomes more complex and larger, but you can see how it's already starting to tie into each of your notes here.
So is there are the colors related to tags, or what's the meaning of the colors, for example?
Yeah, so like if you look at Sam and Alex, we are both kind of people entities with the tags. So we have the orange tag there. And then you have the Tuesday, February 2nd is blue as kind of the main daily note. And this is of course your first day using it, but as you go additional days, you'll see those pop up. And then you can see the purple notes that are tied into each of those elements. Or I guess that's blue. I'm a little colorblind, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. Just let me see if I just create a new tag. New, like idea. Just want to see what happens. Yeah, okay. So they are associated with specific templates, or are they, because it's not about the tag, right? Because I added a new tag, but the color is still the same.
Yeah, I think so. If you go to, maybe click on Sam, click on either Sam or Alex. So that, I believe, is built off of the person template. So there you can see it has kind of like the title, company type. So in this case, I believe it's the template marking that versus the tag, but I'll actually have to double check on that.
I would like to test.
Cool.
You can just go into that. Okay, let's go over it. Yeah. If I just to see if I know how to, so I see here there is already a search, so I can maybe go back to my role models.
Yeah, and that was going to be the second method I went into after the graph. The search I actually use the search much more than the map of ideas because it's quite frictionless in terms of indexing all of your notes. But the map is certainly quite a lot of fun as well.
Idea, let's see what happens in the map. Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the colors
Yeah, I'll have
are.
to ask. I'll have to ask Alex about and the team about the color coding on the map itself.
That's cool. So let's see, you have some filters. So we have a type of access, if it's published or not. If it's private, everything's private at the moment. So there is also an option for publishing.
Yeah, so the publishing is one-click publishing, where you can make any note live on the web via the link. So for example, if I write maybe like a very short thought piece that's a couple paragraphs but doesn't fit in a tweet, and I still want to publish it on Twitter, I could write that and then post a link to it on Twitter. But it just makes the note live via a link. It doesn't add in any kind of collaboration like Notion or a Google Doc would.
Okay, it's for sharing really with others, which is very good for people doing research. They want to share with collaborators, but they don't necessarily want to start right. Maybe they want to share, a PhD student wants to share with a supervisor, or someone wants to share with a colleague, but they don't necessarily want to work on the same piece. So that's an option that's good to have.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of had the feeling where you're working in a document and you want to say something that's valuable, but a bit private, and you start kind of looking at the permissions to be like, am I about to, say something that I shouldn't in a public doc? So there's definitely no worry of that in Reflect.
And then you have daily, I suppose, daily notes, right? Yeah. And then
Yes.
regular is everything else.
And then you have also linked and, if not, you might have scenarios where your notes are unlinked, although I have very few that are unlinked. Almost all of mine are linked to something else.
I just remove this. It's unlinked now, I suppose. Yep. Show unlinked, should disappear. Well, it's
And
still
actually,
linked. Yeah, it's still linked, but not linked to the daily note, but still.
Right. And I actually take back what I said. The one category of unlinked notes that I have is I have imported all of my previous AmpleNotes because I was a really big AmpleNotes user. But those aren't linked to anything, but I can still search them if I need to find something in my previous notes. And I wasn't very good at note taking back then, so I didn't want to fully integrate them. But I can kind of see those as floating entities around my graph. And it's kind of nice because I know that they're something totally separate. It's basically just legacy knowledge that I have in there to be able to index.
Okay, nice. So you said there were 2 ways to have an overview, and this was one of them. And what's the other one?
So the other is just using search, which I guess is less of an overview, but I think is the most efficient way of finding your notes. So for example, one thing I do very frequently is I have ideas, but I don't really remember what exactly they were related to. So if I have had an idea for an article, but I don't even remember the category the idea was in, I can just kind of type article idea or even article, and it will be quite good at indexing the notes. So here you have, you've already kind of taken some from, you've created a couple backlinked notes. So those should already be indexed there. You can search anything, although yours probably, of course, won't have as much since this is your first day using it.
Okay, and then it starts on what will be the title, let's say, which is the main block. And it will also search on the content of that, way, on the sub-block, let's say. I don't know if that's the terminology that you use, block and sub-block.
What was the second one? Sub-block? Oh, I haven't heard that one, no, but everyone's got their own terminology for them. Yeah, exactly. And you can create a note directly in there if you want as well. If you can just kind of pull that up and type something and create an unlinked note.
Yeah, because that's interesting. Because everyone uses different terminologies. Some people use note, but then when it's an outliner, some people use blocks or they use node. But then here you're an outliner, but then you use note. So it's interesting to see the differences.
Yeah, it is funny. I use network note taking a lot as well as a phrase to just kind of display exactly what we're looking at right now through the backlinks. But that's also kind of like a niche one that I think only a small group of people use.
Okay, that's
cool. And then now, if you want, we can download some of the other elements. Like we can walk through the Chrome extension, which is how you both can save snippets from readings on the web and Kindle. The desktop app is pretty similar to the browser in terms of its view, but it is a bit of a better experience. Of course, the iOS app, that's what we were talking about before. And then the other ones, the Discord channel, that's just our community where people can kind of share their workflows, what they're working on, see new releases. And then the last one, how to use Reflect, is our Reflect Academy education page. So I think in terms of functionality, the most important ones are the apps and the browser extensions.
So let me see the browser extension.
And actually, I need to update that because we now have a Safari one as well.
Yeah, I will not.
Yeah, if you can, If you're not a Kindle user, you don't want that, you can skip that part.
That's it.
Yeah, so now I think you should have
here.
your reflect.
So reflect is here.
You see it there? Yeah. Oh yeah, it is right there. Perfect. So now if you have, let's say you're on a blog or something, you can kind of highlight text and use it to save it. If you have multiple graphs, you can select which one you want to send it to down below, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, the problem is I have too many extensions. One may conflict with the other now.
Yeah, mine is the same way. And then that, again, that's also if you choose to do the Kindle highlights, that's also how you can import them, is through that Chrome or Safari extension.
Is there any way where how I can clip, well, this is not even be used, clip the whole website, but I don't want to actually clip the whole website.
I mean, I've done it with entire articles, which does, you know, it puts a ton of text in your flex. But I think I mentioned this earlier, one of my favorite things to do is take large blocks of text and save it using the snippet. And then I'll use the AI editor to basically, you know, summarize it into key takeaways. That's definitely one of my favorite use cases of the browser snippet tool.
So let's suppose someone is looking for an article. So they found, I don't know which article is this. So let's suppose I want to highlight something, particular, something like this. Is it possible to highlight or and import parts of a PDF, or is it really just HTML website? Because for research, we're consuming PDFs all the time, like research articles all the time. Sometimes there are some publishers have them into HTML, so it's just like the website, really, the page of the website. But most of the time, those are PDFs. Is there any way to either highlight, copy some quotes from it so that I can take notes about it, or it really is the case where I need to copy and put there, or if I can embed the PDF into my notes? How does it work with PDFs?
Yeah, so I think depending on what you want to do, so if you want to just save text, you can use the browser snippet to just highlight any part and save it to a note. I believe, I'll have to check here, that you can add in the PDF file to reflect. I'm actually not sure if I've tried that myself, so let me try it.
Let's put here, it's a quote.
Oh. Yeah, so if you drag a PDF file into your reflect note, it will put the actual file in there so that you can access it. So let's say as a use case for this PDF, you've kind of found your key takeaways, but you wanted to keep the actual article. You could put the actual PDF file embedded in your note and then list your key takeaways underneath it with any tags or any other backlinks you wanted.
Oh, okay. So if I decide to download it, desktop. This PDF with a very weird name. So can I maybe use the slash command?
Yeah. Well, you can put it in the bottom there, and then you can, what I just did is I dragged the file into it. So if you drag it in from the bottom, it should pull in there from your download. I can see it in the, I think that's it in the bottom of your browser tab, right? The QT0C9. Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I did something wrong that it disappeared.
No, I think you have it up a little bit. Maybe if you scroll up.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, you just click on the bullets. You can collapse your whole to-do list or bullet list, which might include a to-do list.
Okay, now I understand why my question before you like, I don't know about what are sub-blocks, because you really work in the concept of notes. So this is actually a note, And this is just like, it's collapsible, but that's actually just the content of the note, right? This is not a block that exists by itself, right? Like somewhere.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. Okay, that's cool. That's nice.
Yeah, it helps when you have a lot of different things or a lot of different projects going on, and your note starts feeling overwhelming. You can just kind of collapse it into a nice organized list.
Okay, that's good. I also see that there are pinned notes here on the side. So how can I pin a note?
Yeah, if you go click under note actions on the right tab, right below the calendar, actually there's a couple things we can explore, but the pin is a good first one. That you can do, and then you can rearrange them in whatever order you want on the left pinned notes bar.
Okay, that's good. And okay, and then probably I can unpin here as well. Yeah. Okay. I could share, and I could show history of this note. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Really
you can kind of restore any version. And one thing that I love about this too, so reflect is very like, yeah, much like your brain. The biggest fault of my brain is that I forget things, right? Or I lose things. And so one of my favorite things about the history is that it restores them to a new note. So if I've, deleted something and then I want to go back and get it, I can restore it without overwriting what I've done since then, because it just creates it as a new note. So that's one of my probably most commonly used features in Reflect as I retrieve kind of old things I've done.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah, because one of the things that most note taking tools don't have is this ability to go back in time, let's say, or see what you have done in the past. So, and even when you have, let's say, well, that's another problem. But then here you can just go back and then have another copy. I was thinking like a separate problem, because one separate problem that I have with daily notes is that sometimes, let's say, I create, for example, this role models note that was here before. Let's say I want to say that I work on this today, worked on the concept of role models, okay? And then life happens, my research evolved, I don't know, something else happened, and I just say, well, actually this note is not relevant anymore. I will split this note in two other ones. So this note will cease to exist. So that link is actually gone forever. Even when it's like, I worked on this, but this doesn't exist. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, or it's really like, well, that is still a hard problem in the note-taking system, little note-taking environment.
I guess with the kind of restore model, it accepts a little bit of clutter for the sake of not losing anything to restore it and split it into a new one. So what I've done on writing pieces, for example, is I will restore it to a new note, and then if needed, I'll copy whatever information back into the original one, which is a little bit of an additional step, but it ensures that nothing's lost, or that it's not, kind of overriding any new information that you might want to keep in the note.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes, like, at the time I say, well, this is not relevant. It really is like, either the concept, I need to make it more precise, and then I will separate into two other concepts. But then we lose the track most in terms of monitoring, because the daily notes is very good for monitoring, right? We just put everything to the daily note so that in the future can come back, do a review, and say, okay, I worked on this in that day. Yeah, but
yeah,
that's a hard problem. I don't think anyone has a solution for that specific situation so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I treat my daily note, just like you said, as sort of a log of what I'm doing in my to-do list, and then kind of link out to everything there separately. So it's like, just like you had that model of working on X project, and then you have the X project as a linked note. And then you can kind of work out of that separately. And if you need to go back and retrieve anything there, you can. while still having your ongoing daily note of what exactly is happening and you're doing day to day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just actually, did I really use this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me see. Models. Yeah. Because that's now for me an
So that
interesting
will,
thing.
so you're wanting that to include in your role model note, because I think it'll be back in your daily note. Yeah, there you go. So
No,
whenever you
it's not here.
save, isn't it what you down below worked on the concept of role models, or was that something different?
No, I wrote something different. I wrote the title was role models, and then the content was, this is an interesting idea. So I was
Oh,
wondering,
gotcha.
see, it
Click
created
on
another role models. Yeah.
yeah, click on all notes. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I misspoke there. So when it saves it, when you save a snippet from the web, so let's say you had copied text in there, it would create a new note from that web page.
Oh, okay. This is actually really good because when I talk about personal knowledge management for the purpose of research, I always talk about the input notes. So if you are taking something from somewhere, we want to say, what is the source, and then our thoughts about it. So here is actually an input note that stands for the source to say, well, it was actually taken here, because I was taking inside the reflect, but I think if it was another website, to appear the website here. So it already tracks that. And then whatever I wrote, and then I can start continuing writing here. And actually it's linked back to my daily notes somewhere here.
And in that case, I like, for example, if I was reading out of a book, I would change my tag from link to book, just for my own system, but or another person might want to add both so that it appears both in their saved links and their books. So you can kind of make whatever system matches kind of your own your own brain.
Okay, well, is there anything else that we could check it out?
I think these are kind of the main ones. I think, for everyone else watching, I would definitely recommend kind of reading through, like I said, the Reflect Academy that has a short note-taking course. And that kind of just explains how to get started with Reflect, but also just how to take better notes and how to kind of use the appropriate structure. And there's also some demo videos with some places to get started there. And then, of course, I love the mobile app. So I'd highly recommend anyone downloading that as well, just, for anything on the go. I use it from everything from like writing while I'm on a train to, like I said earlier, just recording random ideas I have and I don't want to lose. Oh, there is actually one thing that I think we should go through. Let's use the AI palette editor a little bit. So you can pull it up using Command J or using the pulling up the slash menu and clicking on the AI palette.
Yeah.
And so here, if you highlight text, you can use any of these pre-given prompts below. And then, like there's so many things you can do with it, and you can scroll down and see more of them in that list too. And then that top is an open box where you can ask anything of it. So like one of my favorite examples to do is like you can ask it to write a haiku about something in the tone of a pirate, like that kind of like anything you can ask it sort of thing.
How can I?
If you highlight the text,
Okay, highlight.
and then click on the magic wand on the right.
Okay. I want to generate a counter argument. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that I have to say is one of my favorite ones for writing. Because it's like, what haven't I thought of? Another one that I love for writing is asking it to give historical examples. That's a very fun one. And you can also do the same thing by highlighting the text and using the Command J shortcut if you don't like using your mouse.
Oh, what's the other one? That's in the historical.
That one you can ask it organically. So like
Okay.
like you could ask it, can you give like what's a good one? Like you could ask it how note taking is beneficial. You could ask it when was note taking maybe first encountered in history. I have no idea what it's going to say for these things, but it'll probably have something interesting.
Since ancient times.
Yeah, that's a bit vague to
Well,
start. It
that's
gets a
good.
little better.
Ancient
And
Greeks
then
and
you on
Romans
the
use
bottom,
wax tablets to take notes.
yeah, I was kind of hoping to give a year, but also if you do that, once you get the AI response, you can see those prompts on the bottom. You can have it replace the text. So it's if I'm generating a summary of a paragraph, you might want it to replace that paragraph. If you if you think that attempt was bad, you can ask it to try again. You can insert the text below, or if it's something you're using outside of Reflect, you can just copy whatever the response is.
Oh, I see how it's really good for research, because you write it and then you're like, well, this text doesn't look good. Can you please
Yeah,
rewrite it for me in a better way?
that's a good one to try, actually. If you highlight that sentence you have there,
I
you can
just
have
did
it
now. Yeah,
rephrase it. Oh, you did it already. Okay,
yeah,
cool. I
yeah.
missed that.
Sorry, I went a little bit ahead. I
No,
was
that's fine.
enthusiastic
It's
about it.
so much fun to play with. It's like really, really fun to play around with the AI palette editor. And
Simple.
you can literally have it write for you. We definitely don't really encourage that. I think it's more of an editor than, something that's going to write entire articles
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
And I should
But it's
say,
very excellent as an editor.
yeah, and I would say, as a researcher, don't do that. You should be
Yeah,
writing the things. It's good to, like, as an
exactly.
editor, yes, but I agree with you. But for the creative
Yeah.
process, don't do that.
I kind of like to think of it as like my virtual assistant or something, or like within my notes.
Yeah.
And it's great because it's not a human, so you don't have to worry about the privacy security thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really nice. And I would like to say thanks a lot for taking the time, for going through the process of onboarding, for checking everything. I'm really excited to keep using it. So do I have any? I had something that I want to say, but as always, I forgot. So I would like to say just thanks a lot. I think for research, I think I would say give it a try. If you're watching this video, give Reflect a try. So I just want to know, like, if people wants to sign up, is it what is the payment? How does it work? And let's check the address again. So reflect.app, right?
Yes, although that will now go to
I
your
need
browser
to.
version now that you've signed in. But that is there you go. Reflect.app is the main landing page. Pricing, it is 15 a month if you choose the pay by the month plan, 120 a year or $10 a month if you buy the annual plan. There's a 14-day free trial to give it a whirl. And if you need more time, you can just let us know if you want to keep trying it for another week or something. We do also have a student plan for education people that gives you a free year of Reflect. But yeah, that's kind of the main page. All the information's there, and you can see kind of our philosophy on note taking and our note taking course there at the bottom.
Okay, Sam, as I say, thanks a lot for joining me today to give me an onboard of the Reflect app. So I'm really looking forward to play more of it and talk to you again in the near future about that.
Yeah, thank you as well. This was great. And reach out to us anytime if you have any questions or anything.
Okay, thanks a lot, and bye-bye.
Thanks, Bianca. Have a good one. Bye.
So that was the Reflect app. So I hope you have enjoyed our onboarding session today. And if you like this type of videos, just please leave a comment below and check all the other videos that we have in the channel from all the other tools in this very interesting environment of tools for thought. So that's it for us today, and I hope to see you next time.